What's up, Rad Fam? As y'all know, or don't know, if you're new here, hi, my name's Kaylena. Welcome to the Rad Fam. I absolutely love horror movies. I have a Funko Pop collection off to the side that you guys can't see right now of classic horror movies. I have my Jason and Freddy necklaces on. I am a big horror movie fanatic. I especially love horror movies that are based on real events. I don't care if it's just like a tiny little granulate, yeah, that's a word, right? Of truth to it. If it's based on something, I just find it scarier. So today we are exploring some famous horror movies that are actually based on true events. So let's get to it. Open water. When a couple goes scuba diving in open water, their boat accidentally leaves them behind in shark-infested water. It's based on something that really happened to American tourists Tom and Eileen Lonergan, who were left behind by a diving company off the Great Barrier Reef. By the time the mistake was realized 2 days later, 2 whole days, these people were stranded in the ocean. That is terrifying and tragic and sad, and this movie breaks your heart. If you haven't seen this movie, oh my goodness, it is heartbreaking. By the time they realized the mistake 2 days later, it was too late, and they were never seen again. A shark attack seems not to have been the cause of death, however, as the couple's dive jackets were eventually found. The jackets weren't damaged, which suggests the Lonergans likely took them off, delirious from dehydration, and drowned. While they're scarier knowing that they're based off of some grain of truth, when they're like this, it's just really sad and you wish they weren't actually based off of the truth. I found this next one to be shocking. I would have had no idea this was based on something in the real world. And it is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, what? How is Freddy real? Well, he is and he isn't. The iconic baddie, calling Freddy Krueger a baddie just doesn't seem appropriate, kills teenagers via the dreams in Wes Craven's franchise-launching film. Craven told Vulture that the idea stemmed from an article he read in the Los Angeles Times about a family of Cambodian refugees with a young son who reported awful nightmares. He told his parents he was afraid that if he slept, the thing chasing him would get him, so he tried to stay awake for days at a time, said Craven. When he finally fell asleep, his parents thought this crisis was over. Then they heard screams in the middle of the night. By the time they got to him, he was dead. He died in the middle of a nightmare. Here was a youngster having a vision of a horror that everyone older was denying. That became the central line of Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh my goodness, I had no idea. You know, I thought like the Nightmare on Elm Street was like based off of a nightmare Wes Craven had or someone he knew had. I had no idea it went this deep and this dark. Okay guys, today's video is gonna be sad. I'm sorry. It's gonna be sad. And it kind of makes the Freddy Krueger being kind of funny a little unsettling if you think about it. Like, I always really appreciate that Freddy Krueger wasn't just strictly horror. I like that he gave you some laughs mixed in there. I thought it was just unique, but now it feels dirty. I don't know. I don't like that. That actually, ugh. The Conjuring. Now, this is a franchise that I love. I actually saw these movies. I think I've seen every single one in theater. Now, this, if you didn't watch the franchise, or if you did and didn't know that it was actually based on true events, it follows an actual married couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they're supposedly, they're real instances of being involved with the paranormal, because that's what they did professionally. They investigated and wrote about paranormal things. The movie follows ghost hunters helping out a family in a haunted 18th century farmhouse. The hunters, Ed and Lorraine Warren, are real people, as is the Perron family that they assist. Lauren was a consultant on the movie and insists that many of the supernatural horrors really did happen. And one of the daughters who is depicted in the film, Andrea Perron, says the same. She recalled an angry spirit named, I have a thing that I don't like to say the names of like evil things. I don't say I necessarily believe it, but I feel like if I say the name more than once, I'm calling something bad to me. So I'm gonna skip the name. It's a name. Whoever the spirit was, she perceived herself to be a mistress of the house, and she resented the competition my mother posed for that position. Ooh, that gives me the goosebumps. I think that's why I love The Conjuring so much, because I love paranormal movies. I love ghost movies. There's something so creepy about the unseen, and then when you see what's supposed to be unseen, ooh, that sends a shiver down my spine. Ooh, okay, my mama is gonna hate me for including the picture in this. So mom, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry. This one's about The Exorcist. Two priests attempt to remove a demon from a young girl in this box office smash. The movie was based on a 1949 Washington Post article with the headline, "Priest Frees Mount Rainier Boy Reportedly Held in a Devil's Grip." You know, I appreciate the iconicness of this movie. I don't particularly find it all that frightening, but boy, was her makeup in this movie so darn good that the picture right now scares me. Ooh. Oh, I don't like looking at that. Oh, she's scary. She's so scary. The director spoke about the article to Time Out London. Maybe one day they'll discover the cause of what happened to that young man. But back then, it was only curable by an exorcism. His family weren't even Catholics. They were Lutheran. Oh, that's interesting. They started with doctors and the psychiatrists and the psychologists, and then they went to the minister who wouldn't help them, who couldn't help them. And they wound up with the Catholic Church. The Washington Post article says that the boy was possessed and exorcised. That's pretty out on a limb for a national newspaper to put on its front page. You're not going to see that on the front page of an intelligent newspaper unless there's something there. That is very interesting. That is very true. Journalistic integrity, you know, that's very important. So for them to be willing to put that on the cover, that is interesting. Like, why did they believe it so much? Oh, okay, I had to move on to the next one because she is staring into my soul. The next one is The Strangers, and I had no clue, none, that this was based off of the truth. That is so scary. This movie's unsettling. Ooh, that is my, ooh. Three killers in masks terrorize the suburban home of a couple in this invasion thriller. Writer-director Brian Bertino has said the film was inspired by something that happened to him in childhood. That's scary. Oh my goodness. As a kid, I lived in a house on a street in the middle of nowhere. One night, while our parents were out, somebody knocked on the front door and my sister answered it. At the door were some people asking for somebody that didn't live there. We later found out that these people were knocking on doors in the area, and if no one was home, breaking into the houses. Okay, so see, this is one of those things where it's based on a kernel of the truth. It's just like a little speck, and then it inspired a story. I really like that though, because they're generally less tragic because it's not real, so like that's nice. But the part that is real is still creepy enough to creep you out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, I grew up in the country and you could not pay me to live in the middle of nowhere again. Nope. I've watched way too many horror movies in my lifetime to ever be comfortable to live in the middle of nowhere ever again. No. Oh, wow. This one's actually about Veronica, which is a movie that just came out last year. It had a lot of hype around it. It had a lot of viral reviews saying that, you know, this is the scariest movie ever, and it's literally scaring people to their ill and they can't finish the movie, which that might be true for some people, but I had a sneaking suspicion all along that it was just viral marketing. The recent Netflix release follows a 15-year-old girl who uses a Ouija board and accidentally connects with a demon that terrorizes her and her family. The movie is based on a real police report from a Madrid neighborhood. As the story goes, a girl performed a seance at school and then experienced months of seizures and hallucinations, particularly of shadows and presence surrounding her. The police report came a year after the girl's death, with 3 officers and the chief inspector of the National Police reported several unnatural occurrences at her family's home, and they called a situation of mystery and rarity. Ooh, that's spooky. There's an actual police report on it? Ooh, that's interesting. That means a lot of people had to go along with this story. So like, it's not just one person that thought they saw something or listening to somebody saying they saw something. It is multiple people in a professional setting documenting what happened. That is so sad and so scary. Oh wow, that made the movie so much more tragic. Because a lot of times when movies say like based on true events, you're like, oh yeah, how much? Because sometimes they say that and it's actually not based on anything, like nothing. Sometimes it's just like part of the storyline of the movie is that it's based on true events when it's not. God, I didn't believe this movie when it said that. This next movie is The Mothman Prophecies, and I loved this movie. I saw this movie again, a little too young, you know, again, sneaking it behind my mom's back on VHS tape. I think this movie actually might have contributed to my love of movies that are said to be based on true events. And actually, I still have the VHS copy of this movie that a family friend had given me. The movie's about a man investigates the Mothman, a strange red-eyed creature that apparently appears to signify impending disasters. Like, people say they see him before like a car accident or like a train derails or a natural disaster. And like, he was piecing together all these stories of people seeing the same thing, which is very creepy. The real part of this is real-world journalist John Keel wrote the book The Mothman Prophecies after investigating hundreds of reports of sightings and other strange phenomena in Point Pleasant, West Virginia during the late 1960s. Ooh, there's like a scene where he's looking out the window and there's like a thing in the tree, and ooh, that reminds me of a memory I have as a kid, and I do not like this. The next movie is Annabelle. The movie's about a couple who is harassed by the soul of a cultist murderer that's trapped inside a creepy doll. Lovely, right? So lovely. It's a dolls. Love them. Not creepy at all. And the idea of a soul being trapped inside one is disrupting Charlie's sleep. The doll itself is based on a real-life alleged haunted doll, also named Annabelle, investigated by the paranormal experts Ed and Lorraine Warren. You can look up Annabelle, like the actual doll, on Wikipedia. A lot of creepy things. People say she moves, that paranormal things happen when she's around, like doors shut, you hear a girl giggle. Ugh, one of the most terrifying sounds on earth. A lot of just like, creepy things. No one wants to see a doll moving around at night. Okay, very spooky. Again with creepy dolls, this next one is Child's Play, which is about the iconic Chucky doll. I had no idea that this movie was based off of any speck of truth. None at all. So the movie's about a child's doll is possessed by the soul of a serial killer. If you didn't know, now you know. Yeah, it is gory. It is a gory movie. And there's some funny bits in it too, which I always appreciate. The fact behind the movie is Chucky's story was inspired by Robert, a haunted doll that allegedly talked and inspired fits of rage in its young owner. Robert's still on display in the Florida Key West Marteo Museum, which we had actually covered in a few videos ago. Okay, so this is one of the ones that are like loosely based off the truth. There's a truth element to it, but it's not actually a serial killer inhabiting a doll. So let's be grateful on that one. And the last movie we're covering is The Blob, the iconic horror movie. Who hasn't heard of The Blob? Even if you haven't seen it, you know what it's about, kinda. Enough. You know enough about it. This is from 1958, and the movie is about an alien blob terrorizes a small town in Pennsylvania, growing larger and more aggressive as it devours people whole. Really interesting that they made a gelatinous blob scary. The fact behind the blob, which I had no idea there were any, because it's about a blob that eats humans, so how could that be real? The Blob was inspired by a 1950 incident involving a handful of Philadelphia police officers who witnessed a mysterious gelatinous alien mass fall from the sky. It allegedly dissolved before long and thankfully didn't eat anyone. Okay, well, yeah, thankfully it didn't actually eat anyone, because I feel like that would be a lot bigger of news, and I feel like that would have been history books. Interesting that a blob just fell from the sky and then dissolved in front of them. What could that have possibly have been? What are the theories surrounding the blob? I hope you guys liked today's video as much as I enjoyed making it for you, and if you did, please be sure to turn on my channel notifications so that you are notified when another scary, I was gonna say scary, so I was gonna say creepy and scary, another scary video goes live. Until next time, keep it around us, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.